My fiancé went on a trip with his first love. He said he would get engaged to me once he had said goodbye to the past. They held each other's fingers and embraced each other passionately. A month later, he came back and saw the pregnancy test report. He was ecstatic and asked me, "Olivia, are you pregnant?" I just looked at him calmly and said, "I've been pregnant. Callum, where are you? I have good news for you," to call Callum, who was working overtime. But the next moment, a deep and familiar voice came from the next ward. "I have something to do now, let's talk later." I followed the sound and looked through the window. Aurora was holding Callum's hand with a curious look on her face. "Brother Callum, who was that just now?" Callum paused for a moment, stirring the spoon perfunctorily. "It's just a customer. Drink up the porridge quickly, it's getting cold." Aurora wrinkled her nose and said, "I'm tired of eating porridge every day. I want to eat the date paste cake made by Brother Callum." Callum patted her head helplessly. "Then you have to get better soon, and I will do it for you every day from now on." My fiancé, who was working overtime, told a girl that I was a client. What's even more ridiculous is that I've been cooking for Callum for 5 years and have never eaten anything he has made. They looked back on the past and had endless things to say, and I am like a mouse secretly peeping at other people's happiness. I held on to the door, my ears buzzing, and I could barely stand. The door just opened, our eyes met, and I saw a hint of panic flash across his eyes, which then turned into a hint of anger. "Olivia, what are you doing here? Are you following me?" The eyes that used to look at me with a gentle smile are now cold. No one would remain indifferent at such a time, and I am no exception. "Callum, is this the overtime you work?" I stared at that familiar face, expecting guilt to be revealed there in the next second. But no, Callum's expression changed from panic to gloomy. "I have to report my whereabouts to you at any time." "Right, Miss Kai." I was a little stunned. "What did you call me?" "Olivia, don't be angry. I was sick and Callum was worried about me, so he came to take care of me. We didn't do anything." "Callum, you should be gentle to other girls and stop being so angry." Without waiting for Callum to speak, Aurora spoke first. Her tone coquettish and filled with dissatisfaction. "It's like educating your own puppy not to be rude to visiting guests." And Callum, that man with a strong self-opinion, actually suppressed his anger and turned his head away. But his tone was still cold. "Not all girls are as considerate as you. We are innocent. But some young ladies may still be immersed in the drama of catching an adulterer that they directed and acted out themselves." "Brother Callum," Aurora was dissatisfied. Callum waved his hand helplessly and said he would not say anything more. I couldn't help but laugh when I saw this scene. "Look, I'm like an outsider." Aurora walked towards me and said, "Olivia, don't get me wrong." I dodged her hand that was reaching for me and said, "You don't need to explain what's going on between me and my boyfriend, just a stagger." And she fell backwards and hit the dining table as if she was pushed, intentionally or unintentionally. The lunchbox tipped over, one scream. "Maybe two." Kai WN, almost reflexively. Callum pushed me away and held Aurora. I stumbled back, grabbing the doorframe in panic, protecting her stomach with one hand. She looked up and met a pair of unfamiliar eyes. Callum's eyes were filled with anger. "Gigi is still a patient. How can you be so cruel to her? How should I treat her and act out a sad drama with her? Every day I cool the porridge to the appropriate temperature before putting it into the lunchbox. This temperature, I know. Aurora knows," was Callum, who took it away every day. More and more people gathered around us, pointing at me and Aurora and whispering. Callum's expression changed, and he looked at me with a cold look. "Get out, I need to wipe Gigi's body." I stared at him. "Callum, I'm your fiancé, The engagement party is next month, and you're not there yet." Callum interrupted me coldly. Ignoring these words was like putting me in an icy sea. "Gigi might get burned. I don't want to pursue you for anything now, but don't stop me from making up for your mistakes." "What did you say? If you don't explain it to me today, there will be no engagement party for us." I couldn't believe it and pushed him like crazy. The heart that was once soft towards me seemed to have turned into a high wall. Callum just looked at me calmly and said, "Kai WN, Gigi and I are just ordinary friends. Please don't make trouble unreasonably. Go back first. I will explain it to you later." The door slammed shut, separating Callum and me. "It's like separating two worlds." Aurora and Callum are childhood sweethearts, having gone from primary school to university together. Not until their senior year that Callum's family business failed. Aurora broke up with Callum and chose to go abroad. Under the double blow of family and love, Callum almost collapsed and drank all day to drown his sorrows. It was also at that time that I met Callum. Perhaps because I was attracted by his melancholy temperament, I have a strong interest in him, but I won't be shameless enough to pursue him. Love should be mutual affection, not compromise. Otherwise, people will not be able to tell whether he is with you because of love or out of pity. He needs money. So I introduce some opportunities to him. If you have the ability, then do it. If you don't have the ability, I won't touch the mud with my hands. Fortunately, the man's bones were not broken. I have a good family background, I am beautiful, and I have outstanding abilities. Naturally, his eyes were drawn to my glow. It's very similar to the novel, where a rich girl redeems a poor boy. Callum confessed his love to me. The sunset that day was so beautiful that his ears turned red. He said that because of me, he seemed to have regained his fighting spirit. Indeed, he became more energetic, cheerful, and motivated. Later, I was spotted by a well-known director and played a supporting role in a drama. The response was good and it can be said to have become a small hit. Callum worked even harder, vowing to revive the Chin family. But no matter how busy he is, he will come to the crew to pick me up after get off work. As a driver, he said he would work hard to be worthy of me. I am more convinced that I made the right choice. He even voluntarily gave up opportunities for advancement and declined invitations from various directors. Accompany him to discuss business and obtain resources, and be willing to be the woman behind him. I can live well without these. But Callum only has me. I endured this for 5 years and finally got my parents' consent. His company started to get on track, and Callum proposed to Kai Wan. It can be said that I appeared at the lowest point in his life and accompanied him step by step towards the light. We were supposed to have a happy future, but Aurora came back and I instantly went from being a fiancé to a client. Sure enough, feeling sorry for a man is the beginning of misfortune. The city lights will be on all night long, but they cannot illuminate the deep loneliness. The next day, I put the pregnancy report on my bedside table. Maybe I still had some hope. Imagining that Callum would come to me eagerly after seeing the report and tell me that I was wrong, with a hint of shameful expectation, I packed all my luggage and left the home where we had lived for 5 years. Cancel the engagement party. The message was not replied, but Callum posted his first circle of friends message other than work. The photo is the entrance of his primary school, with the text, "I will accompany you to see the past." Needless to say, Callum didn't go there alone. As his name suggests, Callum never shows off his affection. The old tree blossomed, and many friends came to watch. I thought Laro Chin's first post on WeChat Moments would be about the engagement party. I'm happy again. Past brother. I was wondering why brother Chin was on a business trip. It turns out he took his sister-in-law to reminisce about the past. The only one who can make Mr. Chin romantic is my sister-in-law. My fingers kept sliding. And the teasing and blessings should have been the smile on the corners of my mouth, but now it's like a boning steel knife stabbing into my heart, grinding my flesh and blood, and it is the silent Callum who runs it. At the same time, another update was made in the circle of friends. The photo is of fingers interlocked, with the same school gate as the background. There is no caption, but I know that the new person who added me is Aurora. I had a blank expression on my face and just kept enlarging the photo with my fingers, as if trying to find some evidence to prove that the owner of this hand was not Callum. Suddenly, my fingers paused, and the scar on my ring finger came into my sight. I couldn't cook at first. The affluence of my life has made me only think about what to eat, not how to cook it. But after being with Callum, his idea changed. He said that this small family needs some homely atmosphere. I solemnly guarantee that he will be able to enjoy a delicious meal. As expected, the first meal was created in a rush. I messed up, and the broken porcelain pieces brought a hint of red. Callum hugged me and kept reassuring me that it was okay, but a long scar was still left on his ring finger. I have held his hand countless times and asked him questions that I have asked him countless times, and he would always respond to me with a smile. What do you want in return for being hurt? Then a ring to cover this scar forever. Good, we were clearly about to fulfill our promise, so why was it in the hands of another girl? It felt like there was a stone in my throat, making it hard to breathe. I covered my mouth and tried to swallow it, but it flowed out of my eyes again, silently, quietly, and freely. Strangely, I wasn't thinking about the photos, but the distant past. He obviously knows how to cook, but he just stood by and watched the whole process. Are you laughing at me? Or are you enjoying the pleasure of being tamed? Intense grief can make one retching, but I truly felt sick from the bottom of my heart. Callum and I are done. Callum and Aurora's journey continues, but Callum no longer updates. But I still know that they walked through elementary school and high school, visited old houses, and went to pet stores. They picked a cute little ragdoll cat named Tien Tien. That night, Aurora updated a set of photos on her social media platform. A kitten was lying in the sun, and the shadows of a hugging man and woman were vaguely reflected on the floor-to-ceiling window, with the text, "You really remember the promise we made when we were kids?" Although neither of them showed their faces, judging from their figures and clothes, the two of them were a good match. Coupled with the nostalgic and sentimental copy, it gives people a feeling of reunion after many years of separation. The image of the lost and found soulmate comes to life on the paper, quickly attracting a large number of fans. "Ah, the cat is so cute, auntie, suck it. Am I the only one who finds the shadow on the window to be the perfect height difference? I'm done." There are many couples signing contracts now, but this couple is really pleasing to the eye. I'm paying attention to them. When we moved into our new house, I wanted to get a pet, but Callum disagreed. He doesn't like cats and dogs because they shed, and it's hard to clean up. He has a lot of reasons. It even involves the fact that it will be bad for the child in the future. Wow, it turns out she is keeping her promise to remain chaste. Callum hasn't contacted me in a month. Maybe he is waiting for me to admit my mistake and beg to return to him. My love has really spoiled him over the past few years. I left this private beauty salon with the words, "Goodbye, Miss Kai." I have been a housewife for nearly 5 years. I haven't gained weight, but I look a little haggard. Even so, I was still a little surprised by my recovery after just 1 month. It turns out that I was so beautiful back then. Callum Company in the roar of the sports car. Don't approach men actively. And don't approach men actively. After signing the equity transfer contract, you should relax. Should Anian have more brothers? She has always had plenty of resources, although it is not usable. It is at least pleasing to the eye. Although his mind was full of random thoughts, his hands moved very quickly. Over the past month, nearly 30% of my shares in the company have been transferred out in small amounts. There must be many people who want to invest in this company with great potential, but those who are well informed know what this means better. The Kai family is about to leave. Everyone understands that this is the rhythm of the agents being cleared out. How much fat the Kai family can grab before taking action again depends on their own abilities. This incident naturally alarmed my father, but after I told him the whole story, he only said 2 words to me in response: "I'll take care of the company's affairs. Come back if you're okay, your mother misses you." These 2 sentences made my eyes red again. After resting my eyes, I went home to see my mother. When I went out, I saw Callum and Aurora walking side by side. Maybe it was because he hadn't seen me pretty for a long time. Callum didn't recognize me at first sight. Instead, Aurora had a wary look in her eyes, and her hands were pulling at Callum's clothes with such force that they turned white. Callum noticed something was wrong, and when he looked at me again, there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. "Olivia," he subconsciously shook off Aurora and walked forward quickly. Frowning slightly, "Why are you dressed like this for work? Look at the unpleasant feeling of private property being exposed to the light. In the past, would I be happy because of this possessiveness? But now I took a step back and said, Boss Chin, I'm not your employee. Why do you care what I wear?" Callum's outstretched hand froze in midair. "Olivia, are you still mad at me? Gigi is getting married soon and may not come back to China in the future. This time she came back just to visit old friends. What does this have to do with me? Is Mr. Chin explaining this to me?" The surrounding employees looked at him frequently, and Callum looked a little unnatural. "Olivia, don't let your imagination run wild. You are not a child anymore. Why are you so jealous? I couldn't stand it anymore, so I pushed his hand away and said, Mr. Chin, don't you understand the situation? We broke up a month ago. But you were busy on your honeymoon with Miss Song and didn't reply to me. Aurora pointed at me and yelled as if she had been hurt. What honeymoon? Kai WN, stop gossiping or I'll sue you for defamation. Shut up. Callum got angry at Aurora for the first time, and panic flashed in his eyes when he looked at me. I didn't agree, and I came back to discuss the engagement with you. The invitations have already been sent out. How can I face my company's clients and my parents if I cancel now? People laugh when they are speechless. The first thing that came to his mind was how to explain to the client, I need your consent to break up with you, go out with another woman for a month and come back to tell me you're engaged. Callum, you are such a bitch. The man in front of him swayed and his face turned pale. He held my hand and whispered, Olivia, let's talk about this when we get home. I shook off his dirty hand and strode away. I am going home. But that has nothing to do with you. Callum breathed a sigh of relief, as if most of the problems would be solved as long as I agreed to go home. He looked at Aurora again and spoke softly and comfortingly. When Anian saw me, he felt like a long-time pervert seeing a little lamb. She looked around and couldn't help but sigh. Love is still the best way to make a living. Let's go out for a walk. Look at how tender this skin is. Sister kissed Tilda. I opened her restless hands and pouted. Don't talk nonsense. I can't raise a noble love. Anyan's eyes lit up, as if he had heard some incredible gossip. What's going on? Listen to the tone of this. Is it possible that the old tree in your house has blossomed? Not only are they blooming, but they are also attracting butterflies. I picked up the wine glass, thought about it, and put it down again. I touched my belly and ignored Anian's crying and shaking. This is the first time I've encountered this kind of situation. And it would be a lie to say I wasn't confused. Go back and ask your parents. I shook my head and when I came to my senses I was surrounded by strong men. Anian's best friend is good at getting along with others, and she is really attracted by them. Our place is the most lively in the entire beach park. The macho, bookish, and beautiful girls are not an exaggeration. The 8 abdominal muscles kept swaying in front of my eyes, and out of curiosity I reached out and touched them. Yeah. It's different. I don't drink and they don't dare to persuade me to drink. They enjoyed playing around with Anian, but some just stared at me. The handsome guy with a cold face. Is he thinking of doing something weird because he sees that I am not moved by beauty? I was bored anyway, so I waved at him and we chatted. Following suit, an angry Callum came. Kai WN, what are you doing? Callum stood in front of me, his eyes looking like he was about to kill someone. I felt like a husband catching his wife cheating. Why are you everywhere? I didn't say it. Someone stood in front of me and said, Sir, you scared my friend. I didn't drink, but I could hear texture in the voice. It's hard to describe. I can only say that this guy has such a good voice, so his business must be good. Be brave and do what is right, and be cold-faced but warm-hearted. Callum shifted his gaze. The two males were like antler deer fighting for territory. They stared at each other fiercely, neither giving in. Callum, who is 185 meters tall, is actually a head shorter than the other person. Perhaps because he feels that he cannot gain the upper hand in terms of momentum, he turned to me with a face so cold it looked like water was dripping out of it. Kai WN, I usually can't tell from my appearance at home, but you are having quite a lot of fun. You rushed out as soon as I left. Before I could express my anger, Callum was punched. The two men fought each other. I don't know when Anian ran over and hung on me, shouting come on. Aurora came up with a group of people to pull the two apart. Callum spat out a mouthful of blood and looked at me with some pity. Olivia, don't do this to yourself because of jealousy. I walked over to the cold man and handed him some tissues. What's your name? He looked at me steadily and spoke word by word. Thank you, Xingli. It sounded familiar but I couldn't remember where it came from. I patted his shoulder and said, well done. Don't be afraid, I'll take care of the rest. Aurora supported Callum, looked around and said with a smile, MS, Kai is very busy. If we hadn't come to dinner tonight, we wouldn't have known that Miss Kai had such an open side. Most of the people around him were employees from Callum's company. I guess they just came back to get closer to the company. Aurora out to meet people so soon. I also smiled and said, I am a single person. It is normal to go out and eat and chat with friends. MS. Song, who is about to get married, ran away alone with someone else's fiancé for a month. It's time to pay attention to your life problems. Ex-fiancé Xie Xingli at the side suddenly spoke up. I shrugged, surprised at how much this guy knew. But he was right. The employees around me obviously didn't know that Callum's 1-month business trip was not with me. A woman suddenly appears and hangs behind the boss, which is bound to arouse people's imagination, especially this scene now. It immediately caused people to talk about it. Boss Qin actually broke up with manager Kai. I heard they are getting engaged soon. So, this woman ruined it. No wonder she always follows Mr. Qin. It turns out she's a mistress. Aurora's face changed again and again due to the whispering. She forced a smile and said to me, MS, Kai may have some misunderstanding. There is no misunderstanding or relationship between us. I became more and more impatient and pushed away the noisy crowd. Bad men and cheap women are an eyesore. It's better to enjoy the sea breeze. I don't know when Aurora came to my side, like an NPC that refreshes at a fixed time. It's annoying. But you can't avoid it. The weak little white flower pretends to be a snow lotus. Actually, I have no intention of snatching Brother Callum from you. He was my favorite when I was young. But it was only my favorite when I was young. I have my own life now. I'm just here to say goodbye. And then, I tilted my head to look at her. I kidnapped my ex-fiancé for a month. Then throw it to me like garbage and say something you don't want anymore. I should just accept it happily. He is a bitch. And you are really stupid. Aurora was a little annoyed. Brother Callum and I are just friends. We have never crossed the line. You've been together for 5 years and are about to get engaged. Can't you be considerate of these little things? I wonder if it would be dangerous if I slap her now. What is overstepping the boundaries? As long as you don't penetrate me. Can you just use your friendship to explain it? My parents didn't even try to persuade me to be considerate. Who the hell are you? Aurora looked very unhappy. Kai Wan. Don't talk so disgustingly. I reached out and brushed away my hair that was messed up by the sea breeze. Is what you did disgusting? Aurora suddenly smiled, and her pitiful face was slightly arrogant. Kai Wan, you are jealous that I can make Callum abandon you with just a flick of my finger. I will always be in the deepest part of his heart. Even if you marry him, you can't replace me. Do you think he was thinking about me when you had sex? How can people be so shameless? I feel sick. We can't have this day. I don't collect trash, but I'm curious, does your fiancé collect trash? Aurora's face suddenly turned pale and she grabbed my hand. What do you want to do? If you dare to do anything out of line, I will never let you go. I didn't dare to argue because of the baby in my belly, but Aurora pulled me into the sea. Callum's exclamation came with the sea breeze. Shishi, Aurora, who had fallen into the water, was picked up by someone. Callum looked anxious. Gigi. How are you? Aurora's eyes were red and she cried. I just want to make it clear to Olivia. She is angry. I shouldn't have come to see you. Callum brother, don't blame me. The whole time, he didn't look at me. His eyes were full of coldness. Kai Wan, there should be a limit to jealousy. Gigi has a stomach problem and can't stand the cold. Apologized to her. The sea water was freezing cold and my mind was completely clear. I had a high fever, blurred. I saw Callum confess his love to me for the first time, and I rejected him. I am proud and don't need to bind someone with interests. Callum was sincere and passionate at that time, and his ears would turn red when he talked to me. If I casually said I wanted to eat a cupcake, he would ride his bike over 20 miles to buy it for me. She would take me to try on clothes over and over again and praise me for my extraordinary beauty. I forgot when it changed. Our life is just about work. Endless overtime and busyness, but I am not short of money. I just want to be with him and do what he wants to do. But it seems that if he can't make money, he can't take care of me. I wanted him to take some time to walk with me, but he said the company couldn't do without him and I shouldn't act like a spoiled brat. Material things are equated with emotions, and love is misinterpreted as childish in the face of reality. Suddenly the dream was shattered. Callum left everything behind and took Aurora back to the old place. It turns out that he does love me, but not me. Watching them walk through their youth hand in hand, I cried and shouted at them to get out of my dreams. When I opened my eyes, I found myself in the ward, with Xie Xingli grinning beside me, looking at his red arms. I felt a little embarrassed. No wonder the feeling of beating someone in the dream is so real. I looked at him and said, "It was Anian who asked you to come. Thank you for your hard work." Xie Xingli's eyes dimmed slightly, and he shook his coat that was soaked by sea water and said, "You asked me to come here, Miss Kai. Don't you recognize me yet?" It seemed like the water in my brain hadn't been drained away yet, and I didn't react for a moment. Did I ask him to come? I recently contacted some relatives, friends, stock transferors, and some former directors. A flash of inspiration came to me, and I suddenly looked up and stared at the handsome face in front of me. Gradually, it overlapped with a certain face in my memory, and I asked in surprise, "Are you Po?" That was my first drama. I played the protagonist's sister. The character is likable, my acting skills are also on point, and his death in the end to save the protagonist earned the audience's tears. I gained a lot of fans because of this drama, so when the news came out that I would no longer take on any acting jobs, they were the ones who felt the most regretful. The Xie Xingli in front of us is the protagonist at that time, the actor who played the younger brother Abao. I heard that the investor of this drama is the Xie family, and the one they want to promote is the young master of the Xie family. Later, I gradually faded out of that circle, but I heard that he no longer took on any acting jobs after starring in that drama. I didn't expect that the situation would be like this when we met again. He leaned back in his chair, sunlight slowly streaming in through the broken window. There is a pair of amber eyes, clear as a lake, reflecting me. We were not far away and no one spoke. The atmosphere was quiet and somewhat ambiguous, which was broken by my retreat. He looked at me with mixed emotions in his eyes. "My second sister and director Lee have a new play. We are missing an important female supporting role. It just so happens that you contacted director Lee, and I was ordered to come and discuss with you. I didn't expect," I put on a smile and said, "I didn't expect you to see this mess and get you into a fight." Thinking about how I behaved at that time, I feel so embarrassed that my stomach hurts. I remembered something and looked at Xie Xingli embarrassedly. I contacted director Lee at that time to see if there were any unimportant roles. After all, I haven't acted in a long time. And there are other reasons why I'm afraid I can't play the role you just mentioned. Xie Xingli's expression changed, and he looked at me with some pity. "The shooting time has not been decided yet, Ms. Kai. You can take care of yourself first." His eyes gave me a bad feeling, and I unconsciously clenched the bedsheet. "Thank you, Mr. Xie." My body. He didn't look at me, but lowered his head and said, "Miss Kai, your parents are coming from another place. I hope you can be more open-minded about the child's matter." His lips moved, but I couldn't hear any sound. What does it take for my parents to come? What woke me up was a call from Callum. I could hear the suppressed anger on the other side. "Kai WN, is it necessary to tell your parents everything about us? You will only be satisfied if I bow my head." My mind was in a mess, and I looked at Xie Xingli blankly. "What did you just say?" Xie Xingli was silent, and Callum raised his voice in his ear. "Kai WN, don't play dumb. Your mother just scolded me. You also said that you would never let me marry you and told my parents about all the problems. How are we going to get along in the future?" I stared blankly at the ceiling. The bright white sunlight was blinding. Like my face, something slipped from the corner of my eye and wet the pillow. I said, "I hate you." There was a long silence on the other end of the phone, and finally a sigh. "When will you be more sensible? His path is paved, and he can keep going without me." Xie Xingli didn't say anything and just sat with me. After a long time, he asked me softly, "Do you want to take revenge on them?" I didn't look at him. "There will be retribution waiting for them. It's like the devil is tempting the world. If you disperse your shares, it will cause trouble for them. But the Kai family is not the only one who can be the backer. Aurora's family also has some energy." I interrupted him and said, "Just say what you want to say." He looked at me, his eyes clear and sharp. The Xie family has some connections. I want to help you." I turned to look at the man and suddenly smiled. "Xie Xiaogong, have you forgotten? I'm not some little girl who needs to be rescued because she's stuck in the mud. It's easy for me to kill them. Why should I owe you a favor?" Xie Xingli's eyes flickered, but he still looked straight at me. "I want a chance to get closer to you. You can hire me. I'm cheap." It's not like you owe me a favor, an old-fashioned way to pick up girls, but I changed my mind. If Xie Xingli stepped forward, perhaps that confident man would face reality. For the next month, you can call yourself my new boyfriend. After leaving the hospital, I went back home. My mother kept on arranging my clothes, this big red scarf. I remember you don't like red, aren't you the one who likes short skirts the most? Why did you bring so many long skirts? I looked at the old clothes I took out from the bottom of the box, and my thoughts drifted away. This is one of the few small gifts Callum prepared for me, although it's not the kind I like. But I am very happy that such a stupid person can think of these things. Now that I think about it, he hasn't given me a gift in a long time. Old things are covered with dust. And so is love. As I swiped my phone, a familiar person appeared. Big data is really magical. The things you are most interested in and don't want to see will always appear in front of you. Aurora appeared. It should be a large size, with a lot of content on the homepage. I flipped through the pages one by one, and suddenly my fingers paused. It should have been a winter a few years ago. Aurora and a man were holding hands and setting off fireworks on the beach. A long white velvet skirt and a red scarf. The man was not Callum. I was visiting clients with him that day. In the evening he suddenly said he wanted to take me to the beach. We enjoyed the sea breeze and it was very cold. He put a red scarf around me and I was surprised and asked him when he prepared it. He just looked at me and smiled, a gentle and affectionate smile. Later, I had a fever for 3 days. What wonderful memories. If I weren't the clothes hanger that reminds me of someone. I was a little upset. There were always flies flying in to disturb my peaceful life. Mom, throw these away. I don't like them. My mother was stunned. As if she thought of something, he took a step forward, twisted his waist, and threw the scarf far away, accurately dropping it into the trash can. What a piece of junk. It would look tacky even for my grandma to wear. To make matters worse, I received a call from Callum in the evening. The voice on the other end of the phone was very tired and drunk. Honey, where are you? I want to talk to you. I hung up and gave the address to Aurora. Callum hasn't come to see me, he just couldn't get through the manor gate. He originally played the role of a loyal watchman for a few days. But later Xie Xingli sent him a few vicious dogs. He is usually lazy, but when he sees Callum, he is like a chicken with blood injected, and his mouth is watering. The watch ended with Callum going to the hospital. Xie Xingli threatened to send a fighting dog next time and cover the medical expenses. The next day, Xie Xingli described in vivid detail how Callum fell drunk in the alley. How come everything was stolen and only my underpants were left? I asked him if this was the person you arranged. He ignored me. Ever since he met my mother, he seemed to have found a strong backer. As for why Aurora didn't go to pick him up, it was said that she was called back by the Song family and looked very unhappy when she left. Some rumors spread that her fiancé's family had some influence abroad. This marriage is very important for the Song family to expand overseas markets, but coincidentally, that family also has some cooperation with the Kai family. I don't have time to pay attention to these things, so I just rest and take care of it for a while. I started to discuss the new play with director Lee. Being busy can make people forget some worries. The new drama has a luxurious cast, with several first-line actors and even national treasure-level veteran actors. The industry is paying a lot of attention to it, which shows that the Xie family has invested heavily in this drama. Some photos of me on the set were also leaked. It was only circulated in a small circle at first, and some fans recognized me. They were all surprised that I took on another role and said they were looking forward to it. Later, public opinion gradually shifted. Someone took a photo of me having dinner with Xie Xingli, and many things about my past were gradually dug up. The leading actor and the supporting actress fell in love with each other during the filming, and both retired. Xie's young master spent a lot of money to make his former lover famous. The road to success for a new drama actress. For a time, my relationship with Xie Xingli became the new target of onlookers. Until someone released photos of Xie Xingli and Callum fighting, the situation has reached a point where it is out of control. Someone dug up my relationship with Callum. Married woman cheating on rich young man. New era Pan Jinlian. The Xie family suppressed the husband's company just for his wife. The criticism was directed at me. And for a while the internet was full of malicious speculation. Xie Xingli secretly found me and comforted me, telling me not to be affected by the comments online. The Xie family will do their best in public relations. Of course I know who is behind this. At least some of the data on the Xie family's suppression of Callum's company are real. These things cannot be found out by simply searching on the internet. I opened Aurora's social media platform, and everything was set to private. The corners of my mouth curled up. Fortunately, I had already downloaded a backup to prevent a mad dog from biting me. I handed the evidence I had about Aurora and Callum to Xie Xingli. We have to seize the opportunity. Whether the popularity of the new drama can reach a higher level depends on them. A few days later, an insider revealed the relationship between Callum and Aurora. They were childhood sweethearts. But it seems someone was behind it, forcing them to separate and succeed. And the person who was suspected to be obstructing the process was me. Interfering with the mistress. Cheating again. Callum remained silent, and Aurora issued an ambiguous explanation, confirming everything again. The torrent of anger needs to be vented, and the righteous must judge the party that made the mistake. My private messages were instantly filled up. Without even looking, I knew that a lot of people were cursing the mistress, but no one knows my whereabouts or address. Those who are incompetent cannot find it, and those who are capable of finding it dare not speak about it. But I still strengthened the security configuration to prevent anyone with ulterior motives. While there was a heated debate online, I was frantically absorbing forgotten knowledge. I go out early and come back late every day, and I really learn a lot from my seniors. I put my whole heart and soul into the performance. From being awkward in the beginning to acting opposite the veteran actor, I still felt unsatisfied after the performance, although I am only a supporting role. My outstanding ability to express emotions makes it easier for newcomers to get into the role and even perform beyond expectations. All the newcomers who can be squeezed into this drama have strong backgrounds. Building good relationships with them can broaden my path. Those who manipulate public opinion should be prepared to die because of it. This is what I said to Aurora from the bottom of my heart. If you want the fire to get bigger, you need to add more fuel. Callum and Aurora's travel diary is that oil. It only takes one night to go from being a mistress who destroyed a relationship to being redeemed from the lowest point. After his business went bankrupt and he broke up, his girlfriend insisted on accompanying him until he started a successful business. But he revisited the old place with his ex-girlfriend a month before his engagement. Groups of evidence are sent out by different people to piece together the truth that people want. The wind direction changed so quickly that just when Callum's company had begun to improve thanks to public opinion, it was brought down to the ground again. Seeing that the Kai and Xie families were getting closer and closer, the situation was set and it was the right time to show goodwill. The newcomers in the crew who I helped, their families were just doing normal business competition. Callum's company grew rapidly. The next time I saw him was late one night. I had just gotten off work from the crew when I saw Callum waiting at the door. He was leaning against the car, with unshaved stubble on his face, looking very haggard. His eyes lit up when he saw me coming out of the crew. "Olivia, you're off work, I'm here to take you home." I took a step back and two bodyguards in black stood in front of me. Callum couldn't get close to me, he just stood there and looked at me pleadingly. "Olivia, I know I was wrong, I was possessed by the devil. I just wanted to say goodbye to my old friend, but I didn't expect it would cause you so much harm. I was really wrong. For the sake of the child, can you please forgive me this time?" He grabbed a life-saving straw, took out a wrinkled pregnancy test report from his arms, and looked at me with sparkling eyes. "Olivia, you are pregnant, aren't you? Why didn't you tell me? I was wrong. You can hit me, scold me, but don't chase me away, okay? We can't let a child be born without a father." Callum, who was held but still trying to move forward, with a sad look in my eyes. "Callum, we've already ended. If you really know you are wrong, you shouldn't appear in front of me now." Callum looked flustered and quickly explained. "Olivia, I shouldn't have ignored your feelings, but during these days with Aurora, I figured it out. I love you, Olivia. She is just a regret in my youth, and you are the one I truly love. Please, don't abandon me, okay?" I really can't bear to hear the word love from his mouth. Callum Have you ever really loved me? The man opposite nodded hurriedly, looked at me and said, Love, I love you Olivia, let's start over. I interrupted him. When you gave me the scarf, were you looking at me or the other face under the scarf? Callum was stunned, and murmured, I am. I continued, when Aurora walked towards you, you were actually secretly happy, right, even if she wants to do something else with you. You won't refuse, even, some things have already happened. Callum's face was pale and his body was swaying. I looked at the car coming from the other side and knew someone was waiting anxiously. Callum, come to me now, it's not that you know you're wrong, it's that you know you're finished. Ask yourself, why do you deserve me to wait for you here? Callum's eyes were red, and he squatted on the ground, not daring to look at me. He just said in a muffled voice, Olivia, you have really changed. I opened the car door without looking back at him. I have no obligation to be who I was a year ago, a day ago, or even a second ago. I have the right to experience, grow, and change. By the way, the baby is gone. It was the day after Aurora pushed me into the sea. Callum, who was sitting on the ground holding the pregnancy test report, the crying sound was getting farther and farther away from me. The light from the street lamp shone on my face, making it dim and difficult to see. Xie Xingli's joy was beyond words. I asked him, because I rejected Callum. He said, no, it's because the original Kai WN is back. There will always be someone who likes you even though you haven't changed. Later, the drama I starred in became a big hit. And because of the previous turmoil, many people were paying attention to me. And I became an overnight sensation thanks to my outstanding acting skills. I never saw Callum again. Except to hear that his company collapsed. Someone saw him holding a crumpled piece of paper and returning to his hometown. There are rumors that he has gone crazy and calls his son paper whenever he sees it, and wants to send it to his former primary school for classes. Aurora once, and her travel diary was known to her fiancé. The Song family kicked her out of the house, and she, holding a grudge against him, got a bottle of sulfuric acid from somewhere. She shouted that I had ruined her life and wanted to die with me. But before he could get close to me, someone held him down. I didn't blame her. I just sent her in for a few years. Everyone has the right to choose, but also the obligation to take responsibility for their choices. You will always meet a few wrong people in your life. But once you overcome the obstacles and look up, the sun will still be shining. I'm in the sunshine now. Xie Xingli asked me what I wanted to do next. The afternoon sun made me a little lazy, and my mind turned reluctantly. And I came to a conclusion. I want to eat some cake. I'll go buy it. No, let's go together.